When you tell people you need to be alone, they look at you like you've just confessed to having a contagious disease. Are you okay? They ask. Is something wrong? As if the desire for solitude is a symptom of mental illness. Meanwhile, these same people are drowning in a sea of notifications, small talk, and what Jung called the collective infection. They're so terrified of their own company that they'd rather scroll through strangers' breakfast photos than sit with themselves for 5 minutes. Look, here's what nobody wants to admit. The person who can't be alone is the sick one. You're not antisocial, you're just not interested in social anesthesia. Because what is most social interaction anyway? It's noise, it's static, it's people desperately trying to avoid the one conversation that actually matters, the one with themselves. Jung knew this. Oh boy, did he know this? After his break with Freud, he spent years in what he called his confrontation with the unconscious. Years, not a weekend meditation retreat, not a self-help seminar, but years of deliberate isolation where he faced the complete chaos of his own psyche. And you know what? He nearly went mad. He built toy castles, talked to imaginary figures, filled books with wild visions. His colleagues thought he'd lost it. But here's the kicker. That's exactly where he found it. Found what? Everything that made him Carl Jung instead of just another forgotten psychiatrist. See, when you're constantly surrounded by others, you're not yourself. You're a walking reaction. Someone says something, you respond. They expect something, you perform. It's like you're a pinball bouncing between everyone else's expectations, never following your own trajectory. And then you wonder why you feel empty, why success feels hollow, why you can't sleep at night without checking your phone 17 times. Jung discovered something during those years of solitude that would make most people run screaming back to their group chats. He found that inside each of us lives a complete universe of characters. The shadow, all the parts of yourself you refuse to acknowledge. The anima or animus, your unconscious feminine or masculine side. The self, the totality you're meant to become. But you'll never meet any of them at a cocktail party. You want to know why? Because in a crowd, you're wearing what Jung called the persona, your social mask. And most people get so comfortable in that mask, they forget it's a mask. They think they are the mask. The successful businessman, the devoted mother, the class clown, the rebel. These aren't you. They're costumes you put on to navigate the social world. But in solitude? Oh, in solitude, the mask falls off. And what's underneath can be terrifying. Jung wrote about meeting his shadow in visions, a primitive man who wanted to kill, who lusted, who contained all the barbarism that civilized Carl had rejected. Most people would medication that away. Jung invited it to tea. Literally, he had conversations with it. But that's crazy! Sure, if you define sanity as perfect adaptation to a sick society, if you think mental health means never questioning consensus reality, never exploring the depths, never facing the dragons in your own basement, then yes, Jung was absolutely bonkers. Except here's what happened. By going into that solitude, by facing those inner figures, Jung didn't just survive. He mapped the territory. He gave us concepts that explain why you hate in others what you can't accept in yourself. Why you fall in love with the same type of person over and over. Why certain symbols appear in every culture's myths. Why your dreams keep showing you things you don't want to see. And it all came from being alone. Radically, committedly, unfashionably alone. There's this moment in Jung's memoir where he describes sitting by the lake near his tower. Yeah, he built a stone tower to be alone in, because apparently a regular house wasn't isolated enough. He's sitting there, and suddenly he realizes he doesn't know if he's Carl Jung dreaming he's sitting by a lake, or if he's the lake dreaming it's being observed by Carl Jung. That kind of insight, you don't get that in a Zoom meeting. The modern world hates loners because loners are unpredictable. They're not responding to the usual social cues. They're not playing the game. They might actually think for themselves, and thinking for yourself is the most dangerous thing you can do in a society that runs on conformity. Oh, but humans are social animals. Yeah? So are sheep, So are ants. You know what makes humans different? The capacity for individuation. Jung's word for becoming who you actually are instead of who everyone expects you to be. And individuation requires solitude, like fire requires oxygen. Look at every genuine innovator, every real artist, every authentic spiritual teacher. They all have their wilderness period. Buddha under the tree, Jesus in the desert, Jung in his tower. Even in our secular age, Einstein's long walks alone, Tesla's midnight wanderings, Emily Dickinson barely leaving her room. Coincidence, please. But we've created a world that pathologizes this. If you're not networking, you're not working. If you're not posted, you didn't happen. If you're not available 24/7, you're selfish. We've made solitude a luxury item when it's actually a basic nutrient for the psyche. Jung said something once that should be carved above every doorway. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Not who your parents wanted, not who society demands, not who you think you should be, who you are. And you can't discover that in a committee meeting. You can't crowdsource your soul. You can't focus group your way to authentic existence. You have to go in, alone. Without your phone, without your distractions, without your carefully curated playlist telling you how to feel. Most people would rather die. And in a way they do. They die to their authentic self, bit by bit, every time they choose the crowd over solitude, the mask over the face, the noise over the silence where truth lives. So when someone asks you, why do you spend so much time alone? You can tell them, I'm in a meeting with the one person I can't afford to ignore, myself. Or don't tell them anything. That's the power of the loner. You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing depth over surface, truth over comfort, yourself over the collective trance. Jung died at 85. And you know what he was doing in his final years? Still taking long walks alone, still retreating to his tower, still choosing solitude because he knew what every real loner knows. Being alone isn't empty. It's where fullness lives. The crowd is where you go to forget yourself. Solitude is where you go to remember.